Hi, this is Caryn Solomon, and welcome to my podcast, Crushing On. Today's guest on the show is Zayaan Schroeder Mollagee. She is a film and TV reviewer for Channel 24, and she's also the creator of the blog Up the Faraway Tree, which reviews kids' books, TV, movies, and educational material. So it's such a great resource and so interesting for parents of young kids. So if you have children, please check it out. Otherwise, the two of us have been friends for a while. We met when we both worked at Media 24, and we have similar interests in what we like to watch. So we spoke a bit about Teen Wolf, one of our faves, and other fantasy, sci-fi, and historical shows that we watch, as well as, stuff for kids and things we enjoyed as a kid, like the OG Livexi. We do have a spoiler this week for the show Cursed, but as always, details in the show notes. And yeah, I'm not going to keep you too long. Here's the interview. Okay, so I want you to start by saying, do you remember the first time we met? This is my favorite story.
Oh my God, yes.
When I was talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you piped up at the other side of the...
It was on the other side of the divider, my head just popped up over, like that Doctor Who gif where he just pops up.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Are you talking about S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Somebody say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hi. Was it S.H.I.E.L.D., wasn't it? Was it S.H.I.E.L.D. or was it Arrow?
I feel like it was S.H.I.E.L.D. We spoke about Arrow afterwards, though.
Oh,
because
maybe.
then I remember Aisha didn't like Felicity.
All at the same time. Yes, Aisha didn't like Felicity.
because she was all up in what's the guy's name? Oliver's. Oh, your gosh!
God, Oliver.
I could not stand Oliver Queen. The fact that I carried on watching that show for as long as I did was crazy.
These are few shows that I actually watched longer than I thought I would, and I realized I was speaking to Robin last night, and the only reason I watched him so long was, have you heard of somebody called Bryce Peterson?
Yes, I used to like Bryce Peterson.
Bryce Peterson did those photo recaps of Vampire Diaries and Teen Wolf, and that's the only reason I watched Vampire Diaries till the end, to watch it, just so that I could read his recap of
some of his pictures saved, where there's someone in the background and he's like, "You okay?" or something like that.
I think I have the ones all of Matt, because he was always going on about how Matt was poor.
Matt Donovan.
I burned my batteries for heat.
Bryce Peterson was the actual best. We're easy now in this world. I hope he's well.
I hope he's well. I don't know what he's doing with his life. But that's I think that's the only reason I watched those shows till the end, because both of those shows towards the end of it, they were not great after a certain season.
I didn't watch it till the end. I think I skipped out of the Vampire Diaries season 5. I think I skipped out of Arrow. I think season 5.
I can't tell you on Arrow where the last I watched.
I stopped watching Flash also now, though.
I don't watch any of them or the Arrowverse anymore. I feel like they don't know when to end it. I only watch. No, I do. I watch Legends, but only because they make fun of themselves. They don't take themselves seriously. They know they are there for comedic relief. So
stop watching after season 1. And everyone is like, "You should have stayed on," because I couldn't handle that damn Hawk people. And I got so frustrated.
Oh my word, I forgot about him.
I liked Captain Cold, and then they killed him.
Oh,
and I was like,
I did like him.
I was done.
I liked
but then they said it got campy afterwards, which is also
it got really campy. And so I'll watch that. But it's not on my list of, I have to watch it. I have to catch up on it. I'll watch it if I have nothing else to watch. But that's how I feel about Arrowverse. Okay.
So what have you been watching lately?
I finished Umbrella Academy because
okay, please tell me about this Umbrella Academy, because I've been seeing you talk about it for months.
Have you not watched season 1?
I've not watched season 1. I know what the show's about. This is superhero stuff. And I know it's a guy from Misfits. And Ellen Page.
Yeah. Ellen Page. So it's this group of siblings, they all adopted. So this rich guy adopts 7 kids who are mysteriously all born on the same day and they all have superpowers. And he trains them. Eventually the one brother dies and they all go their separate ways, and then the father dies and they all come back together and they have to now save the world from some apocalypse that they cause. That they are the cause of the apocalypse. So, but it's fun. I really enjoy it. It's filmed really nicely. Like the cinematography is really good. Like the camera work. I mean, I think you studied film also, didn't you? So like you pick up on stuff like the camera work and how like I just love it. And the one brother, he's a time traveler. Like he can jump, he can sort of teleport, but within like just like from here to the lounge or whatever if you want to. And also like to the 1960s. So he like jumps to the future and gets stuck there and tries to find his way back. And then when he jumps back, so he lives in the future for like 58 years. I don't know how old he is. He's an older man. And then he jumps back in time and gets stuck in a teenage body. Yo, that's the funniest thing. I love that boy so much. I think it's Aidan Gallagher who plays number 5. He's so good at his role. Like, you believe he's an old man stuck in a 16-year-old body. Like, I love him so much. And he insults all of his siblings. You have no time for them. It's like he's just like, why am I stuck with these people to save the world? We are all going to die. He can't deal with him. But I love it. It's really good. Season 2 was quiet because so now you already know like what the deal is. And I think that thing about season 1, it's always setting up like what is this new world and these new characters and you're figuring out the mythology of the series. And then season 2, you know what it is. But now they've gone back in time and the apocalypse followed them. So now they're going to save the world. Whole thing. But like with time travel shows, it's never a straight line. It's always like you always have to be thinking. So I think a lot of the second season for me was thinking like, where's this going? What's going to happen? What's the consequence of this action? So like when time travel is involved in a show, it is a little bit tiring for my brain.
You watch Legends.
You watch Legends. They don't care about time.
And they don't care about the rules.
What are rules? Not for us.
It's like the whole thing about Flash when like all the problems caused by him traveling in time.
Just stop, Patty. Stop traveling.
Yeah, like stop traveling in time. I like a good time travel though. I love it. Give me fish out the water. Give me.
Oh, you will love it then you will love it. Especially the second season. Oh, I've been watching Medici. And that, I mean, aside from, I love fantasy stuff and sci-fi stuff, and that, but also like a good historical drama. And Medici is about, the Medici family. There's a famous banking family in Florence. So it's this whole saga about that. And the reason I started watching it was very superficial. It's because the guy's named Daniel Sharman and Bradley James are in it. I was like, yo.
Who's Bradley James?
Bradley James is, he played King Arthur in Merlin.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I'll watch that. And then I watched it. And then I thought, this is a show about like a Florentine banking family. Why am I crying? The drama. I was like, at like the end of the first season. No, I think it's the second season. Because they sort of do a time jump, 20 years. So it's like a whole new cast and a whole new part of the family. Like the grandsons from the second and third season. I'm just sitting there crying, tears running down my face for those people. I'm like, let's say, just talking here now, you're going to laugh at me crying at TV again. But it's only 8 episodes per season, but they get so much done. And so many years. And like they skip a few years, but they don't even have to go like 8 years later because you sort of realize, okay, he has children now. A couple of years must have passed.
So is Daniel Sharman in the later seasons or in the earlier seasons?
Yeah, he's in 2 and 3.
Oh, okay.
So he plays Lorenzo Medici, who was very powerful influence actually, like all the Renaissance painters and artists and stuff. He sort of was their benefactor. So he just gave them money, like, make art. So that's like Botticelli and Da Vinci and Donatello and all of like those Renaissance people, like he sort of funded them. So that's why Florence today is the way it is, mostly because of him. And it's like just so insane to think like one man could have so much power and influence like that. They still these feel like they can still feel the sort of what's what I'm looking for, like the result.
Like the
of that, like so the influence so many years later. I don't know, I just think it's amazing. Like I like shows like that also. It's like real, like it's a real story. Like you go look it up, it's like wow, these people are very dramatic. Like they could make a whole TV show out of it for your actual lives. All I do is go clean the kitchen, when to work, put my children to bed. What are you people doing? Like so that's so yeah. I was watching Medici, and then because he was in there, I was like Daniel Sharman. So now I'm on a Daniel Sharman binge. I'm just
how many shows does Daniel Sharman have? Like, where's he been?
Rewatched the Wolf season 3 just for like, and then there's a new Netflix show called Cursed, which is terrible.
Oh, I was gonna ask you if he's in there because I feel like I saw pictures.
He's in there and he's very good in there, but he's not in enough of it to make the show good. That whole show it's King Arthur legend, but they turned it on its head and they were like, okay, it's from the perspective of Nimue, the Lady of the Lake. So I was like, okay, cool, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But they sort of like just like, okay, we'll just take ideas from the Arthurian legend and make it our own. We'll just make it up as we go along and use these people's names. Because Arthur is not even a prince, firstly. He's like nowhere near anything. Nimue is, so I think it's before she becomes a Lady of the Lake.
Okay.
It's fine. I mean, there isn't much
law and
story
stuff
for her anyway, law and stuff, for her. I mean, so you can sort of make that up, but there's just some things that have to stay that are sort of central to the Arthurian legend, and they sort of do away with a lot of it. And I don't want to sort of spoil it, but like Lancelot Daniel Sharman plays Lancelot. It comes out at the end, like he's Lancelot, but he's this weeping monk, and he's also like he's like Fae, and they made him a killer, like this, like the church found him when he was a kid and then turned him into like a kid, and he can sort of track his own kind, and that's why they use him. And then this is the whole thing, and I was like,
But is it not based on a book? I think I read somewhere that it's
based on a book, but the show was sort of commissioned before the book was even finished.
Oh gosh.
Sort of wrote the book it was almost like a companion to the show rather than
okay. I read this book I'm saying a couple of years, but by a couple of years I mean probably high school or varsity or something like that, but like a long time ago, where it was a Meg Cabot book. I don't know if you read it, but it's also sort of based on Arthurian legend, but it's set in modern times, but like they almost reborn.
Okay.
But it's also like Arthur and the Lady of the Lake are kind of
and
meant to be.
That was the other thing. The Lady of the Lake, in the legends and the stories, the Lady of the Lake and Merlin are actually like a thing. Then in this thing, they make it like father and daughter, and I was like, oh.
But I suppose the legend has also changed. I don't know if you listen to podcasts other than this.
I do.
But do you listen to Myths and Legends?
I have it on.
It is
on my Spotify, but I haven't listened to it yet. It is
amazing. This guy can tell a story like nobody else. I thought first of all, because there were some topics that I thought would be boring, but the way he tells the story, and it's just him talking. He doesn't even have like guests doing it, other voices. Like it's just him. But he tells it in such a way that you are like enthralled. But he tells quite a bit of Arthurian story, so which is why I think that like I think we were talking about it once where we say that we think it would make such a good like anthology series. They did like an MCU.
Oh yes.
All the different stories in the world, in that kind of legends could make such a good like, as in like different movies, different series and stuff like that. They could build so much from that. And there's so much story to be told, but that you can do that sort of like historical, but like faithful to legends.
But the show itself was also somewhat like it was a little boring. I was lying there and just like, when are you just going to get on with it? The main character was she was annoying, man. Like, I hate it when they do that when the main character is annoying and the side characters are far more interesting or funnier. Then you sort of just love for the side characters, but the main character you have to look at for like 80% of the time.
So it's a good like potential, but meh.
It had potential, but meh. But I'd pass.
Daniel Sharman.
The things I do for Daniel Sharman, I watch Cursed.
I did not like him. I just thought he was overhyped when he was on Teen Wolf.
I loved him on Teen Wolf. I was just like, you're in love with him.
I think I also like Scott and Allison together, and then he came between.
To be fair, Scott went with Kira first.
I know, I like Kira too.
Kira came along, and then they were all up in each other's business, and poor Allison was on the sidelines there.
And then didn't Isaac just like leave and never come back?
That was the worst.
So many characters did that though in that show.
And then they just said nothing about him, like he didn't exist.
Like Danny also just left and they never came back.
Danny and Isaac, they just left. At least with what is Carlton Haynes' character called? Jackson. At least with Jackson, they were like, oh yeah, Jackson went to London and he's there.
And he came back a few times.
He came back in the last season. He just came back for like the I think it was the last episode or whatever.
When he saved Lydia or something like that, and then Styles got jealous.
Styles. But then even Styles left Teen Wolf for a season. There was a season at the last season.
Was that when he was in the accident?
Yeah, I think that's when he was in the accident. And he was filming Maze Runner.
He was here.
And he was here. So he was in the beginning of the season and the end of the season. And
were they looking for him?
No, he went to the FBI. He was enrolled in like some intern program at the FBI. But you could tell how much the show relied on him once he was on.
That's exactly true.
It was terrible. It was just so flat without him.
But I quite liked Scott. Like I always feel like what made for me, I don't know, there was a lot that I didn't actually like about Teen Wolf. I felt that a lot of the storylines didn't make sense and there was a lot of plot holes.
The mythology didn't make sense.
Yeah, oh my gosh, the mythology.
But you know why? That's why if you have to watch it and read Price Peterson's recap with it, because then you laugh at how
I have to link to Price Peterson's recaps in the show notes for this episode because everybody needs to see how funny that shit was.
The thing is, like, even he will say, I don't know what's going on, and I love it. It's like the show is equal measure horror and ridiculousness. It's like completely ridiculous. And then you just, it's like Riverdale.
No, okay. I think it's a bit better than Riverdale.
No, I mean, I'm
I know what you mean.
How ridiculous Riverdale is. Like, how are you watching the show still, man? I'm still watching the show.
I think for me, what I enjoyed about Teen Wolf is I really like the characters.
Me also.
Like I felt like I genuinely cared for their lives. Towards the end, I didn't care so much. Like all those white boys that came in.
But the original pack.
Yes, like I would have died for them. Like I love them.
I loved them. That's why I think I always watch I'll watch until season 3.
Yes, that's a good season.
When Allison died. Allison was rude.
That was so rude. I was cross.
Cry.
I was like, she could have gone away. Like, I'm sorry.
Like, they have to kill her. But I think then I read this. That's the same thing that happened with Isaac was that both actors said they wanted to do movies or other TV and other stuff. But then Daniel Sharman said, don't kill Isaac off just in case he wants to come back. But
and he just never came back.
He left, he went to France and never came back.
Didn't come help out. I do like that season with all the alphas. One of the tree thingy.
Yeah.
Love it. And when they flash back to young Derek, I know why I love that episode so much.
Yes, that episode.
I think I still downloaded a song from that episode that I played often. That episode with the girl that died by the tree. Ooh, I don't know why. It made no sense to me, but I was like, it makes so much sense. I believe this.
No sense. Like, just the mythology was so off. But the characters kept you, man. You just loved them so much.
What happened to Cora? I liked Cora. Cora.
Oh, you don't have to Cora. Derek took her to South America and left her there. still there.
And I think I posted this on Twitter when someone was like, your opinion on characters. I'm like, how the hell did this girl escape the hellfire? Nobody explained it to us. Like, Derek just went to a random house one day and she was there. Like, nobody speaks about the fact that if she wasn't in the house, then why did Derek not say, oh, I have a sister out there. I don't know where she is.
Exactly.
But he was shocked to find that she survived. So,
That whole show, it made no sense, but I love it so much.
It is, but that's a show, where 100% the characters made the show, because yes, maybe annoyed me at times, but like, I feel like in most teen dramas, the main character will piss me off at some point.
Yeah, like, but Scott wasn't like that.
I love Scott.
I love Scott. Yeah. Like, he was a true alpha.
And he was so cute, and he was made jokes about himself.
He was so fun also. Do you remember that scene where they told him he's the hot girl?
Yes, I'll never forget that. I can say, I'm the hot girl.
Yes, you are. They were so cute. I think that's what it is, just their relationships with each other also. It's this whole thing like this found family, man. That's like this trope that I realize I love so much of this, whatever show or book it is, where they make their own, for Teen Wolf, it's their own pack, but like, their own family that you choose, and that you like loyalty to the end, like, I'm all for that. Then you got me crying for stuff.
And with the children, what they into now?
Rushdie is heavy into Pokemon, like both of them, but shame poor Daria, she's just like tag along, so put us into Pokemon, so she's not into Pokemon. So it was so funny, we were praying Maghrib earlier. She guys to stand in front of me, start dancing, singing Pokemon song. I was like, I was supposed to not laugh in my salah. It's like, I want to be the very best. I was like, okay.
So they're watching the show?
They're watching the show. It's on Netflix or it's on Showmax. And then we have Pokemon TV, the app on the Android box also. And then they have a Pokemon encyclopedia. So now then they sit with that and that. And they must show me all of the stuff. What Pokemon evolves into what Pokemon. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't watch this in my childhood. So they're very into Pokemon and Dragon Prince also.
What's Dragon Prince?
Dragon Prince on Netflix. I think it's such a quiet show, just in terms of diversity, especially for children, man. Like, the king is a person of color. The sergeant was one of his main gods. She's deaf. But she's so quiet, man. She kicks ass and whatever, but she's deaf. So they have like sign language and like just everything across the board is like so diverse. Really cool. And so like, and it's not like here's the token black guy, It's like everyone, there's like people of color, there's people of different sexual orientations even, and it's just like normal. It's just like, we're not making a thing about it. It just is what it is. We're not even going to talk about it. It just exists. And then She-Ra also, it's also similar like that. So he's really into like She-Ra and Dragon Prince right now in Pokemon. That's what I actually asked him earlier. I said, I'm going to be on the podcast. What you watching? He said, did you put down Pokemon?
Said, the most important one.
But have you heard about Pokemon?
You're like, yes, I used to play with those Tazos when I was...
Yes, I've heard about Pokemon.
Yes, we used to run around town, the streets of town, trying to hunt Pokemon, me and you.
Yeah, the Pokemon. And then I still have the Pokemon Go app, but I don't really play it so much because, not like we're going anywhere.
So what shows do you watch, or that they watch it, you also want to watch with?
That I watched Dragon Prince with him. Dragon Prince is it's really cool. Like Zane's also watching it, and he said like people compare it to Avatar. Oh, that's the other thing we watch. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
they love Avatar, but they don't like Legend of Korra so much.
Okay,
because it's sort of like a time jump, and it's a new Avatar, and it's a whole new story, and they're like, give me the original stuff. So Avatar they love, and then I watch Dragon Prince and She-Ra. I don't really let them watch stuff that I will watch with them. That's why I must be bored.
I'll be the same.
They must have good taste in things that they watch.
Oh, I want you to talk about why you banned Peppa Pig, man.
Because Peppa Pig is the worst. She's so rude. Like, I can't deal. Like, I just watch it and I was like, how can this child be so rude and like speak to a parents like this? Like, oh, well, not the parents, just like the father. They take him for such a hat. Like, they so disrespectful to him. Like, they call him fat. Like, obviously he's fat. He's a pig. Like, you also are pig, Pepper. We're not going around calling you fat. It's like, Daddy Pig's so fat. Ha ha ha. Like, they just make fun of him. I was like, yo. And the thing is, Rushdi was picking up some really junk ways of speaking, man. Like, mostly, it wasn't what he was saying, but it was just like the attitude,
like the tone and stuff.
Yeah, the tone and stuff. I didn't like it, and I was like, there's so much there's nicer things for them to watch. Like Daniel Tiger's a really nice show. Like Daria likes that, and but it's Mr. Rogers. That Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah.
We never got it yet.
Yeah, and I haven't watched the movie yet.
Yeah, Tom Hanks has now played him in the movie, but it's from his company, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, and it's just like cute ways actually, like for children how to cope with like big things like going to school, or if something doesn't go your way, like little songs and stuff to help them cope with situations. That's nice. Like that's teaching them some sort of life skill also.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool.
Because like this one episode where he goes and makes a birthday cake for himself, but the cake sort of smashes, and he's disappointed about he doesn't have a birthday cake. So his mom's like, yeah, but it still tastes like so they're like, yeah, that's the silver lining. It still tastes like cake. Things like that. Like when my kid get upset with something that like broken, like if the bread you cut it the wrong way. Like they don't cry over stuff like that anymore, because I'm like, yeah, but it still tastes like the same bread, like, and they don't complain about what kind of plate they're getting, because I was like, but does the plate change the way it tastes? No. So it's like good in that sense. Like that. So I'd prefer him to watch stuff like that than Peppa Pig, where all they're getting is attitude.
I think, obviously I'm not a parent, but I've watched a lot of kiddie shows with my nephews, and I told him one nephew has like a full-on British accent when he was small, just like CBBS. There's so much more you have to consider when you think about what like content your children consume, because it's not just about like what they're seeing, or it's about like little things like you said, like attitude and tone and all that kind of stuff.
You don't realize it until you watch it as a parent, like, and see how your children sort of react to it and what they come away with after watching it. But then there is like stuff like, I didn't like him to watch Teen Titans Go. But that was just me, because they were like being musach teenagers, man. Like they were just being weird. But then he was just laughing at it because it was weird. And I was like, just let it go, because sometimes you just have to laugh at things, man. Sometimes things are just funny because they are funny. So like he laughs so little for that. Like,
cute man. What is your favorite shows when you were a youngin?
Depends what kind of youngin, like at what age.
Like when you were a
kid. I think I remember KTV. I remember watching X-Men, like the X-Men animated series.
I remember the Cartoon Cafe, Disney's Cartoon Cafe.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember that, but I don't remember. I'm trying to think what came on KTV is what I'm trying to think. And so I think we watched X-Men, and then the Batman animated series was also cool. I think I was a little bit older, maybe. That could have been like 9 or 10. Smurfs. We watched Smurfs.
And KBs. I remember KBs. Very,
yes.
Very
Do you know what? Know what I'm remembering? And I actually bought them the box sets. And I say I bought them the box sets, but I actually bought myself the box sets. Heidi.
Yes, of course, Heidi. But did you watch the Afrikaans one though? Did you buy them that? Because that's the one we watched.
The Afrikaans one I bought. Heidi.
Do you know who's the voice of Heidi? Hilda from Sevendelaan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think my auntie told me that kind of recently, and now it's like my fun fact that I go to when someone brings up Heidi.
That's a great fact.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the
you
goat.
Know what? Okay. And the other one was Lieve Heksie.
Oh yeah. I was actually thinking of that song the other day, the Lieve Heksie song.
I always say to my, like, Live Exie has that friend Bloomy, and she always says, "Hi, Bloomy." So I always say it to my children, like I said, if they do something, I was like, "Hi, Bloomy." So they asked me, "Who's Bloomy?" The other day. So I showed them the video, like it's a clip on YouTube and of the episode. And then, I don't know, Exie she has a rock stuck on her roof or something. I don't know, whatever. But the way she speaks, Exie was depressed, eh?
No, like it really feels like she had problems. Like I was listening to the song, or I wasn't listening, I was playing it in my mind. And then she said her name is something else, but they call her Lieve Exie.
Yes, but they call her Lieve
Exie. Maar Lafini or something. Is my name. I'm like, shame, this girl just wants you to call her by her name. Don't call her nice witch.
You call her Lieve Exie.
I used to read the comics in the U or so.
Yeah, I remember those.
Lieve Exie comics and Bobo.
Oh, Bobo, I forgot. Didn't it used to come in like a special Jelly Bean Journal?
No, they came into August, but Jelly Bean Journal was legit. I remember when I joined Jelly Bean Journal and they put my name in the newspaper, I thought I was so cool. Sorry, you were asking?
What are you reading?
Me, right now, I don't know what's this author's name, but I'm reading this book. It's called The Authenticity Project. It's actually quite cool. I've literally started it yesterday, so I mean, I'm still not too sure. But basically, it's about this guy. He's like an artist, and he's like 70 somewhat. And he goes to this cafe, and he leaves like this exercise book. And in the exercise book, he just poured his heart out. Like, this is where I am right now. And he's like, I'm 70 somewhat. I live most of my life for myself. And he'd been married to his wife for like 30 years or 50 years, whatever. And then his wife had died recently. And he realized it made him like kind of invisible, because he was like depressed, but he also realized how he didn't appreciate her when she was around. And then he leaves that book. Yeah. And then he leaves that book in like a coffee shop, and then the coffee shop owner finds it. And she's also got like her own stuff, like she's been single for like a while, or she just wants to get married, but she also like, she's a feminist, and she started this coffee shop. She used to be a solicitor, but this is what she wanted to do. And she doesn't feel like she really has anyone to be completely honest with. And then she writes her type of story in the book. I don't know where she leaves the book, like at this wine bar. And then
so the book goes on.
Yeah, and then it's everyone's stories, but people also, because they're quite honest. So like the artist guy, he says like, this is my name. I was an artist. I'm how many years old, whatever. Then she obviously Googles him. And then he says they always sit on this him and his wife always just sit on this random person's grave every Friday. So she walks past one day and she sees him there. And then she writes in the thing like, he says he's invisible, but he's like the least invisible guy you ever meet. Like, Google him. And then the next guy who gets it, he Googles the art guy too, and he's like, I'm by the third guy now, and I don't know if he's like addicted to coke and drinking and stuff, but then he's trying to be sober, and then he finds the book. And the lady who writes second, she owns a coffee shop, but they all live in the same area. So that guy can like go to the coffee shop and see her. So it's like, it's like they're all interlinked. I read like the blurb, and they were like, people's romances started, and they start becoming sort of like involved in each other's lives. So I think that's what's going to happen in the future, but I don't know. I'm still like on chapter 3. Claire Pooley is the author's name.
I really read books that are not fantasy.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, like Sarah Moss.
Yeah, Sarah J. Moss. Like, I'm just waiting for a new book to come out now. It's coming out next year or something. But the ones that I read most recently that I loved, because it's been a while since there's been a book that like pulled me in, and it's been like, I have to read the next one. Was it's called The Raven Boys, The Raven Cycle.
Oh, I've seen those online.
The series, yeah. I think it's the author's Maggie. She has such a funny surname, Maggie Stiefvater or something like that. Probably not that. Oh no, it is that. It sounds like a German surname. But that book series is really good. It's also like that whole found family thing, that sort of trope, but there's magic, but it's not like set in a fantasy world kind of magic. It's like set on Earth. It's set in an American city that I'm forgetting right now. So the boys, like everyone has some sort of like there's magic involved in the thing, but it's not like a magical world. So that was cool. And then Six of Crows. That is Lee Bardugo. That's her name, Lee Bardugo. But she also has like a series of, it's like this universe that she's created. There's a Netflix series coming out based on it. So it's called Shadow and Bone, and that's the first trilogy, and then Six of Crows is after that. But I don't know, I found Six of Crows to be a better storyline. It's more like a heist story, but set in this universe that she's created now. I was really enjoying that.
I'm actually at the stage right now where, firstly, like, I only read books by women at the point that I am in my life now. You look so confused.
No, I'm not confused. I'm thinking, I think I'm the same, but not by choice. Like I didn't do it by choice. It just happens that all only women. Like I don't think I've actually read anything written by a man, but I think Six of Crows and Raven Boys was the first in a long time where the protagonists were male also. There's a lot of Sarah J. Maas and Susan Dennard also, like a lot of her protagonists are all female. So it's been a lot of that, like the female main protagonist. And that was the first where it was actually a male protagonist even.
And also, I just feel like
I think I did it subconsciously rather than like.
And I also think that the women voices, especially in like the fantasy and that kind of genre, is coming out stronger. Yeah. They have better fandoms also.
They do have better fandoms. But Sarah J. Maas, especially that whole. But she's also getting so predictable in her writing. But it's still like, okay, at this point, it's like a comfort read. It's like I know what's going to happen and I'll do it anyway because I love it.
But sometimes that's the good ones. The comfort reads are the good ones. Like I know when my sister used to read like a million Nora Roberts and I read like maybe 5. And I was like, how are you still reading Nora Roberts books? Like we all know where this is going to go. The exact beats that this is why she can write 20 books a year because she has the same beats in every book. So I'm
just change the skin, the setting.
But it's comfortable. Yeah. Like I just have I'm actually just reading the books I have here at home right now because I have so many unread books. I feel like I have shelves of unread books. So I'm just trying to get through that. I want to like not buy any more books until I finish.
I'm on a book ban. Like I have a lot of things that I have to finish reading. I think I'm currently busy with it's a series called. Well, the book's called The Conjuring of Light. It's the last book. V.E. Schwab is her name.
Okay.
I think it's Victoria Schwab. But she writes under like 2 different names also. She's like one of those people. Like, pick a name, man. Why do you like 2 different? It's like very confusing. But so I'm busy with her series now. I'm finishing that off. But also like imagine just the privilege of like I just want to get one book published. You can publish so many books. You can choose different names to publish under. Like, I want to get to that level.
And I mentioned her earlier, but I'm like a big Meg Cabot fan. Like, she just writes she's the comfort food for me. And she used to have Meg Cabot, which is like her teen books. And then Megan Cabot, which was like the adult books. And then there was another one that was for like the paranormally books. And I'm like, girl, we know it's you.
I think like... Exactly. You're the same person. I think she does the same. She's like V.E. Schwab for like the fantasy stuff, and then she's Victoria Schwab for like the younger books.
But I wonder, I suppose if you see Meg Cabot in a book, you're going to think it's some teeny Princess Diaries book. And she just... It's the same like when Nora Roberts writes under like a mystery or thriller books under like J.D. Robb. So...
Okay.
So like I suppose J.D. Robb looks like someone who writes a... And then when
a fantasy,
Rowling, like the person who we thought wrote Harry Potter, but we didn't really. But but wait, I wanted to ask. So I'm kind of like, this is a toxic trait of mine, but I famously made fun of you for being a Hufflepuff, but just for jokes, just because you got cross. But so anyway, I've been tutoring my nephew.
That's why I like this found family and loyalty kind of thing. So I was like, I am such a Hufflepuff. Look at that. It actually turned out to be true. Like, that's what I love. Like, that's the stories I'm drawn to. See, I am a Hufflepuff. Give me a good cup of tea.
So my nephew's been struggling a lot with like reading and stuff. So now we're reading Harry Potter because it's like the only book that I had 2 copies of. and he reads. We do it over Zoom, and he reads, and I read and stuff like that. So we we just got to the part where he's at the school, and I'm like, okay, we must sign you up to do your test. And then he does the test and he gets Hufflepuff. And he's like, what's Hufflepuff about? And I'm like, the lawyer, lovely people.
What the hell is a Hufflepuff?
So I was like, maybe I must talk to a Hufflepuff and see what's more. I don't know much about a Hufflepuff other than they're loyal. Cedric Diggory was from there. Tonks. But he doesn't know anybody yet because it hasn't started. But I don't want him to read it. And then
you should have actually done the test afterwards.
Yeah, I know. But I got excited
to know some more characters.
Because I'm like, they say such negative things about Hufflepuff. And I'm like, but
as I've kind.
Yeah. But as we've known them now.
And also I think it is in the books, she does actually, even the Slytherins are bad people. They're bad guys. That's what Slytherins are. But they're ambitious and they cunning. They're smart in that kind of way. It doesn't necessarily make them bad people. And I think that's what she's done in the books. Also, she's sort of painted the Hufflepuffs as being lazy. I am both those things.
But they need some eyes, so.
But I think somebody, oh God, JK, said at the Battle of Hogwarts, after the Gryffindors, the next house, most of them that stayed was Hufflepuff. So it's not to say that they aren't brave Hufflepuffs, is Cedric. The Tonks. I'm also now thinking of the Gen Z people making fun of us about being so with the Harry Potter house. But just leave us and our coping mechanisms.
You're worrying about the wrong house.
You're worrying about the wrong house. Leave us and our coping mechanisms, okay? You must all get here. But what you call is very fat phobic in the beginning of it. In the book I'm reading, to Rushdie now. Harry Potter, the way she describes Dudley and the Dursleys, they're fat and stupid. And I was like, oh, I'm trying to teach my children to be kind. Yeah, J.K. Rowling's teaching them to make fun of fat people. I was like, this is not how we go about things. I sort of edit as I read. He can read, but he can't read that well. So I can still edit the words and stuff like that for you, because some things are a bit problematic. But also I think it's the time at which she wrote it. It wasn't. We didn't see anything being wrong. Now we know better. So it is weird also, again, going back to that, what your children consume. Sort of things Enid Blyton also, the Faraway Tree. There's just some moments where the kids are rude to other a bunch of goblins or something, or elves who help them find the Faraway Tree. Then whatever the boy's name is, I can't remember now, Joe, I think, starts throwing them with fruit because they told him not to go out the tree. So he starts throwing them with fruit, and then he starts laughing at it, and then they're yeah, these elves are the worst or something. I was like, things like that. Then I just stop and I go, did you think that was a nice thing or good thing that he did? And he's like, oh no, that was that wasn't great. So yeah, let's hope Joe maybe gets a bit better. You sort of have to, even if there's because life is going to be crap. They're going to come across things at school with children are junk to them. Just how to navigate that as a parenting is difficult. It's all these things that you think about, even just with reading and watching, just things that they consume. It's a lot.
It sounds like a lot. I wanted to ask you also about Muslim representation in film and series. I think you spoke about it a bit on Twitter. And
I was speaking about it with Najwa and Nikki about it, but it was about that show Rami. I was also saying, I think maybe that's just he himself said this isn't a show that's representative of what Muslims are. If you want to learn about Islam, go follow these people, and you go a bunch of scholars and stuff. That if you want to learn about Islam, go there. This show is not for you to learn about Islam, but it's sort of what people are going through and experiencing. And fair enough on that point. But I think Rami as a character, obviously not, he uses his own name. it's a very immature person. Like, how are you 30 years old and you still getting peer pressured by your friends? You're 30, man. Like, can't you say to you, like, can you not go to your friends? No, actually, I'm going to pass on that, like, cheers, see you later. Like, I'm going to maybe not go to the strip club. I don't understand. Like, a lot of his things, it's like more like he's trying to find validation for the things that he does. Not trying to be big. Like, he says he's trying to better himself and to find answers. And, like, I mean, you are a religious person yourself, so you know about, you question, you doubt, but then you go and find answers. You don't look for something to validate the nonsense that you're catching on.
Yeah.
But also, I was like saying, the way he portrays American Muslims, we're very lucky here in Cape Town, South Africa, where we have a solid community. Even like halal, it's not a thing here. Like, we have butcheries, we have to go eat halal. It's not difficult here. And there's a one scene in the show where he asks his mother, like, is this chicken halal? Never will you have to do it. Like, imagine me asking my mommy is this chicken halal? like that he actually has to ask his mother that. So I think it's a very different thing that they go through in America than what we do, and maybe that's what I don't relate to for that show. Like, it can't speak for all Muslims, and I don't think any show can do that where it can speak for all Muslims.
Yeah.
So I think just the representation is.
But you think like there just needs to be more, just more people's stories?
Or not even just more stories, like even just them being there. Like, there's two incidents that I can think of in these two shows. Well, one's a show and one's a movie. But in Spider-Man Far From Home, there was that Muslim girl that was just on tour. She was just there. Like, it wasn't a thing. Like, she was just there, like, doing her. It wasn't a big deal. She was in the class. No one said anything. She just existed.
Yes, because that's what it's like.
That's what it's like. Like, and then another show, it's a Netflix show called The Society. It's only one season of it. I don't know if they're going to do another season. But there's a girl, and she's more of a speaking character. She's not one of the main characters, but she's like one of the sciencey ones. And then there's a scene where the main character comes down the stairs and she walks out the door. But before she walks out the door, she sort of looks to the side, and the girl's just in the lounge making salah. And she just looks and she walks on. It's not a big deal. It's like representation, even like that, man. Just like we exist in your society. We're not other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean,
like, that was nice to see. Like, just to see that girl. And then she was sort of like the astronomy. Like, she was sort of working out like where they were or something like that. She was the clever one. But yeah, just like, we exist in your society. We live here amongst you.
It's like, you want when Daria grows up that she can pick and choose. Like, that there's a lot of Muslim women on TV that she can relate to or, see herself represented.
For me, it's not even like that. For me, like right now, it's just like that there's brown people on TV for her to see. Like, that's like Doc McStuffins is very cool because she's like a black character. And she's a doctor. Like that, like Doc McStuffins on the ones. And then there's like Nella the Princess Knight is also cool because she's a princess, but she's also a knight. And she's brown. It's like 3 ticks. Like, like these things, there are like shows that there are more and more shows that you can see yourself in. Like, she also looks a little bit like Dora the Explorer.
Yes, she does. And she has a hairstyle.
She has a hairstyle. It's growing out now, but she looks so like Dora. I actually call her Auntie Dora. She gets very cross.
I'm watching The Crown for the first time now. I know. I'm in season 2 now. But I actually wrote this down because I wanted to bring up a letter you wrote the Queen, man.
I love Lizzie. It's my girl. She wrote me a letter. She did not write me a letter. But her lady in waiting did.
And how old were you when you did?
I was fine. I was 8 to 9. I wrote the Queen a letter. I don't even know what I wrote in that letter. I can't remember. I remember getting a reply back from a lady in waiting. And then it was typed out, obviously. They probably have like a stack of these letters that they just put in. But it has the royal stamp on it. It has the header and everything. It has my name on it. And I'm happy with it. Just said thank you. Just something like, thank you for your letter. The Queen gets hundreds of letters a day and can't personally answer them all. But thank you. And then she signed it. I think the Queen signed it. It was the lady in waiting. I think the lady in waiting. I don't think the Queen signed it.
I don't think the Queen is allowed to sign things.
But it's on her stationery. So.
What is that? I was watching the trailer for Princess Anne's documentary, like Anne at 70.
Okay.
And then
Princess Anne, to be honest.
But she seems quite funny. And then
she is funny now in this later seasons. I think what was last season?
Season 3.
Where she's more grown up. She is actually quite funny.
Yeah, so the old lady seems quite... Because I remember that video where Donald Trump was there and she didn't want to come greet and the Queen told her to come. And then she was like... But anyways, I saw the trailer of the thing, but it's on ITV and obviously DSTV took ITV off, which I'm very angry about because I love Long Lost Family. But anyway, back to... So now I saw the trailer and in the trailer, she's calling her mommy she's calling the Queen on Zoom. And then she asked her, like, how many faces do you see? You should see 6. And the Queen's like, I see 4. And then Anne's like, that's okay. You know what I look like. And then, like, the narration, they were like, we're not the only ones who have been struggling with getting our parents to on whatever during the lockdown. I was like, that's so true. I love it when they show how real she is.
Yeah, I love like those things, like those documentaries. I just love listening to the Queen speak. Also, she just speaks in this like very proper way that I don't think any other British person speaks the way she does. Not even her family.
I haven't seen season 3 yet, so I haven't seen Olivia Colman because now we're like halfway through season 2. Claire Foy is so brilliant at that accent. Oh, I couldn't actually deal.
Like that show is amazing.
Like even my
mom. But I don't know why I'm so in love with the royal family, the colonists that they are. You know, like they're such colonizers, but I love them. It's like we've drunk the Kool-Aid and.
But you used to call Philip your fave as well.
Philip is so like not PC. Like, how does a person like this exist? I think that's why I love Philip, because like I can't fathom that a person like this is real. Like, he's a real person who says stupid things like this. And he just gets away with it also.
Remember, every time you'd do something dumb, you'd be like, oh, my favorite.
That man. He's just putting his foot in it all the time. And he's so unapologetic about it also. Yes, he's so stupid. I love it.
I love him.
I'm just here for mess, that's why. I love him.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the mess and the rolls.
Yeah, what's your all-time like favorite series?
Friday Night Lights. I will rewatch that. Veronica Mars, Buffy. Actually, I haven't rewatched Buffy. I don't want to rewatch Buffy just because I want to leave it like in that. I feel like if I rewatch it, it's going to spoil it for me. But definitely Friday Night Lights, Veronica Mars, Buffy. Buffy was my first thing that I was ever like obsessed with. And then Umbrella Academy, just coming back to that, I will actually rewatch that. I rewatched the first season a few times already. It was very good.
I haven't seen Friday Night Lights yet, but I have such a crush on that guy though, Carl Chandler.
Oh God! Then you have to watch Friday Night Lights.
I'm in love with him. Like I literally think so.
Carl Chandler. That man, like you will want him to be your husband.
I really want him to be my husband without even watching it.
Like he's such, at the school about that show, like the couple that they are, they're such a stable couple, man. Like there's none of this like drama around them cheating, this one. They just like, they are the rock in the center of that show. Everyone else has the dramas around them, but they like that. They like the calm in the storm. Because Jason Katims did that. He did Parenthood also.
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
That's like make you cry. That's a show that make you cry every week. So it was sort of like This Is Us makes you cry every week. And actually, I haven't cried in the later seasons of This Is Us. They don't make you cry so much anymore. I don't know if we've just gotten used to it. I'm not saying you don't cry.
So much for damn Uncle Nicky that I can't actually deal.
Uncle Nicky.
Old people make me cry. Like, I mean, before it was like, sad stuff. Okay, I suppose Randall's father's old, but old people get me in my throat. I just want to cry. and him, old people crying.
That whole thing with his whole story is just so heartbreaking. Oh. And then him and Kevin, like Kevin just really like forcing himself to be there, like his father couldn't do. It's like, now Jason Katims does shows like that. Season 2 will make you cry like that. And Friday Night Lights is amazing. Except the second season because there was a writer's strike that year.
Oh gosh, the writer's strike affected so much. I wonder how I feel like this could be the writer's strike of another version of the writer's strike.
Maybe because who knows what is even coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because usually things start up in September again.
Some shows are starting to film again, like they obviously like quarantine them and stuff. So I know some are starting. But with the way America looks like, and with travel bans, and a lot of them film in Canada and that kind of stuff, unless they get like special. But I don't know how it's gonna work. But like I watch my favorite show, The Good Fight, and there was like maybe I think the season usually has like 12 episodes or something like that. And then because of COVID, they had to stop after like episode 5 or 6. So obviously they have an arc which wasn't met.
Yeah.
So the season had to end. There's storylines that are still like up in the air. There's characters that were supposed to leave at the end of the season, which is seeming like they're still going to leave. So we won't get like proper like farewells for them. So it feels almost like the writer's strike in that, And
that was like that Friday Night Lights. It was very confusing, especially if you binge watching, like if you're not watching it live or like when it came out. It ends so abruptly. And then season 3 starts, and then you're like, what is happening? What is people? Did you graduate? When did you get injured? I don't remember this happening. Like, I literally watched the last season episode now, and like, it's very confusing. But then you sort of just almost forget like about season 2 and just carry on with your life. Otherwise, it's just going to be a mess.
But anyway, Zayaan, it was so lovely to chat to you.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
Talking to you. We took like all night.
Thank you so much for listening. That was Zayaan. You can find her at Zayaan27 on Twitter, at @_thefarawaytree on Instagram, and her blog Up the Faraway Tree I will link to in the show notes, so you'll get everything that you need right there. Also, anything that we've discussed on the episode will be there, links to where you can watch the shows and everything else. Me you can find at Caryn Walby on Instagram and at Caryn Walbies with an S on Twitter. You can subscribe to my newsletter, Wildest Dreams. Link will be in the show notes. I chat about my opinions on various things I've seen or read. This week I spoke about Beyonce's film, Black is King. I also spoke about the South African film, Norma 37. And various other things. You can find the podcast at Crushing On Pod on Twitter and Instagram. crushingonpodcast.com is the website, and you can send any feedback to crushingonpod@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate and review the episode on Apple Podcasts. It helps people find it better. And subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes are edited and produced by Rebecca Barches. And join us next week.